want to dive right into it. I want everyone watching at home or at work today, I want them to be able to learn a little bit more about you. So I'm going to flip it over to you. Just tell us anything and everything you want us to know about yourself.
All right. My name's Alex, like you said. 6 foot, Aquarius. I like long walks on the beach and heavy metal music. No. I'm from here. Lived here most of my life. Got 3 beautiful kids. Aiden, who's 9, Avalyn, she's 6, and Orion, who will be 2 later this month. Hands down, my 3 biggest inspirations. That's why I get up. That's why I get up and going every day. And really, that's it. I try to leave every day a little better than I started it with. And that's what led me here.
Man, it's awesome. You have such an interesting thing. I think there's a couple things I don't think anyone would know about you so far. We were just talking about it before we started recording just a moment ago. But some things and passions that you have that maybe people don't know about. You want to talk about them?
Music's one, definitely. When I was younger, I mean, it's kind of stereotypical, but when I was younger, it sort of saved my life. Seemed like everything else was lost, as it usually does with a teenager. You know what I mean? Just lost my father when I was a freshman, and filled up that hole with music, and played. I played for quite a while. I still pick around, but I don't. You know, I'm not out there playing. But it's certainly still a passion of mine. Always listening to something. That music and nature, you know, trying to slow down and appreciate everything around me. In the past, when I was younger, I had some demons like anybody does, and here in the past couple of years, nature has really saved me from that and brought me back around.
It's cool. It's a different feeling. I think these days when we're so connected to everything and technology and all that kind of stuff that you really forget. You and I talked here recently, headed to the gym hike that we went on, and you talked about some like solo trips you took out on your hikes and
well, there for a while. I mean, I had like I said, coming out of a dark time, I would just get up and take off. You know, I mean, I know I'd run into a couple people from the gym before I joined, just being that guy, you know, that was always walking around town. So hiking is really the first step I took towards getting healthy, because it was something easy. You know, I could just both feet on the ground, up, forward, you know, and I would just, I mean, miles and miles and miles for months before I had come here. And it's funny, you know, people don't realize how easy it is to get in those stagnant times, you know. And if something gets the better of you, or gets you seeing darkness where there was light before, it's really easy just to sit still in it. But it's also really easy not to, and you don't realize that until you've started taking those steps. And I wish that everybody could see that before they have to take the steps, because it makes it a lot easier to know.
And just hearing you talk about it, man, it seems like it was such a huge, maybe like turning point for you.
Oh yeah, no, it was a night and day difference in a very short time, because where I was at, it just seemed like, and it's very selfish sounding to say now, but I came to a point, I've talked to you and Clay about it. My mom was real sick. My youngest son was real sick. They were both in the hospital on ventilators at the same time. And, you know, I hate to say it, at the time my head was up my ass. Excuse me. I'm sure you can edit that out.
Oh, it's all good, man.
But I really just was, you know, not handling it well. And it put me to a point where, you know, I looked in the mirror and I was like, here are these 2 people that I love so much, and it's all I can do to show up. You know, I've let myself get so far away from myself that all I can do is show up, and it's not enough. You know, these people need and deserve the better, you know, the best version of me. So it sort of, through that happening, and fortunately they're both healthy now, as you know, but through that happening, it kind of just flipped a switch, and it was like it's the kind of thing people pray for, you know, and I'm extremely grateful.
Like, what are you thinking on these hikes? What's your purpose when you're going out? You're setting out. It's just you. I think most of the time.
Yeah, almost always.
Almost all the time.
Honestly, you know, the way of life that I had gotten stuck in, I was using drugs. I was, you know, in the habit and pattern of that. It was almost like a blanket of safety from dealing with everything that was really going on, and it wasn't intentional. You know, it's just you get to a point. Nobody chooses. Nobody's like, hey, I've got an idea. I'm going to disassociate myself from everything I love and, you know, watch from afar. No, nobody means to, but it's basically, you know, I had made the decision, and that, fortunately, that's the kind of person I am. Is once I've decided on something, that's the way it is. So, however I'm going to have to do it. It's about a week or two in to being, you know, clean. I just, you know, sitting there was doing me no good. I had to do something. And so I thought, you know, I'll just go breathe. I'll just go walk and breathe, and, you know, if nothing else, I'll fill up the time until I, you know, I'm tired enough to go to sleep, and then I'll wake up and do it again. And so a lot of it at first was kind of like just outrunning the craze, outrunning my old way, my old self, you know. And so I just wasn't going to give myself a chance to get stuck again. And it just became something that every time, you know, and I mean, a lot of, you know, people are familiar with the effects of you know, depression, drug use, stuff like that, but until you've lived it, it's like, you know, it kind of is foreign. You know, you don't realize what it's like to look at your own hands and think, like, these aren't mine. You know, this body's not mine. This isn't me. You know, I don't, you know, I take care of myself. I appreciate and love myself, but you haven't been at that point. And so when you're that far, you know, that unhealthy, even a week of daily hikes, you know, and eating right makes a difference, and you can feel it and see it. And so every few days, I mean, I was looking in the mirror and seeing a difference in myself, and seeing a little more each time of myself coming back. And that's, you know, it just went from there. It's like, so like I said, just kind of outrunning my old self and running toward, you know, where I wanted to be. And it's not, you know, it's not a linear thing either. It's like, it's not like here you choose this path and then you go down it.
Okay.
It's like, and this is just to me, it's like every day, you know, you're not, the path splits at any time. So it's not like you're choosing to take one path one time. You got to choose to be on that path, you know, each time. And you can always split off of it if you want to at any time. You know, I could make a decision to do something less than what I know is good, but what's going to happen? I already know that. So if this path I've already been down, and I know that all that comes from it is suffering and no purpose, why would I not just continue, you know, here, even if it's nothing, you know, you don't have to do anything drastic, just one foot in front of the other, and choosing for each one of those steps to matter. And if you enjoy every one of those, wherever you go, by the time you get there, you'll have enjoyed the journey, you know. So yeah, I definitely relate with that, filling up your time with good.
Yeah,
for sure.
The the thing I still think about with you is like since all that happened is like so many good things have started happening to you. Man, some of the best people I know have been through some of the hardest times and like those adversities. Do you feel like this is like, I say that's an obvious one. I think you've definitely grown from this. Do you feel like you're a better person now than before?
Yes.
In what ways?
I don't take the little things for granted. You know, conversations with the people you love, being able to show up, you know, and be present for all the little experiences in life with the people that matter to you, as opposed to just not being, because it's easy to not be there, but until you've not been there and wanted to be, and then finally, you know, having the good fortune to be there, have the opportunity to be there again, it's definitely made me more appreciative of life and understanding of it. You know, when I was younger, my dad was, that's how my dad passed, was he had a drug problem. And so as an angsty teenager, you know what I mean, I was just like, had no understanding for or compassion for him or anyone else in that situation. You know, I just thought, you know, way to lose, you know, way to be weak and choose, you know, and that's not at all indicative of someone's character. It's human. It happens. You know, there's no formal or exact science to calculating the effect that heartbreak or struggle has on a person. So now having been there, I can still have love for, you know, anybody, no matter their situation, and it's really opened up my heart and made me a much better person.
And just what a huge change in perception of like people in general. And
it's kind of ironic because the anger that came from that lack of understanding is in large part, you know, what drove me to being there. So it just kind of it's like a seed and it festers if you don't, you know. So that's what I try to tell people now is if I'm talking to somebody and they have a closed-minded view of something, you know, even if it's something I know nothing about, I encourage them to maybe take a step back and breathe and really look at it for what it is and not be so quick to judge, because you never know where that narrow-minded view is gonna end up, you know, when you come back up to look around where you're gonna be because of that tunnel vision.
No, I'm thinking of you as a freshman in high school, and I'm assuming, and I'm guessing truly, this is when you find maybe a little bit more passion for music and start to use some of that in your teenage years, mostly. Tell me about that.
Well, it went from about 15 years old. I started playing when I was 14. I was 15 when I really was like, you know, because I'm not subtle with anything. I guess you've noticed that, hence me being here like 7 days a week. But I would get out of school, go home, play guitar, maybe get 2 or 3 hours of sleep, go back to school. And, you know, at school, teachers would be like, you know, why aren't you getting enough sleep? You know, what are you doing? It's like they think I'm up to no good, and it's really I just play too much guitar. Way too much. And you know, that obviously that's you know, it was just something as a teenager, you know, you find something you're passionate about and it's just like so I just, you know, that was what I did. And of course, you know, never really dealt with the stuff with my dad, and so that led to, you know, depression, not knowing how to deal with that, which led to drinking and music and drinking. You know what I mean?
Yep. Playing in bars and those types of things, man. It's
so,
kind of the culture.
So, you know, unfortunately, the whole from the peak of my guitar playing from being like 15 till my early 20s, you know, also I was drinking, and for the most part it was, you know, all good fun, but eventually it got out of hand, and again the whole time underneath is depression. And you know, that's not something you can kind of diagnose and deal with on your own as a kid. So I never thought of it. You know, I just thought I was dealing with things naturally.
Yeah.
And you know, music eventually, like I said, eventually, you know, that kind of waned off and life was happening. You know, my first son was born. Last time, during his first year of life was the last time that I was playing live or anything. And then the drink, you know, it wasn't long after that, like a couple years after that the drinking finally was kicked because it just, you know, wasn't working out.
You also have this like sense of responsibility, I'm sure, to like be like the tough one or the strong one through things like that, and those are hard things to deal with.
Yeah, all my cousins and the family that I grew up around, who kind of guided me, you know, and I looked up to. My generation of my family, I'm like the youngest by like 8 years, and I think the oldest one of us is in her 50s, almost 60.
Wow.
So there's, you know, these are all people that by the time I was coming to that point were already, you know, tough.
Adults,
So I was fortunate in that to be around them, but also it did provide that kind of initiative to like, hey, I need to just, you know, I need to just toughen up. This is life. This is how it is. But and to a degree, that's good, and a lot of good things came from that. But also, you know, that's something you need to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. People go years and years, man. I know it's without truly like grieving something like that and talking about it. But
I mean, honestly, I would say that I didn't really have it dealt. You know, you never deal with it entirely because that person's never coming back. But I would say that it took me until almost 2 years ago. So you do the math, you know, 2003 till 2019 or 20, you know. It's quite a while.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
You know, it's very fortunate to have come through. The way I look at it is like, it's like when you apply heat to something, you know, like hardening steel, maybe. You know, it's just, it takes time to produce the kind of strength that we really need. And you know, everybody's path's different. So if it had taken, you know, 15 more years, I'd still be grateful once I got there. You know, so I'm glad for it.
And I'll say it again. I love your perspective on stuff, man. It's very genuine and like very heartfelt. You know what I mean? You can tell that it was really something challenging for you, but the gratitude that you have now, I think that's so rare, man. I think it's so rare to go through some of that.
Man. I definitely encourage anybody to, if you have nothing else for anything in your life, you know, start with gratitude. Definitely, because that opens up everything.
Is there anything that you would tell your 15-year-old self, like today, just looking back, what would help that 15-year-old boy out? And it could be a multitude of things.
So many things, probably, but I know that they would probably all fall on deaf ears. I would just, honestly, I'd probably give him a hug. You know, just, hey man, you don't have to be so hateful. It's not you know, the world against you. It's you against yourself. And I think that's how, you know, now, like you said, the past couple of years, you know, COVID, all this stuff is, you know, the amount of isolation that people are facing is so much more. And you know, if you take somebody that, like, you know, when I was a little kid, I was playing in the creek. You know what I mean? I was not TikToking.
Yeah.
So I think if you take somebody that's young and still in their formative years, whose, you know, pastimes are digital, and then you shut down the whole world around them, like, that is complete recipe for disaster. You know, if somebody's not helping that person or guiding that person into, hey, you know, connect to the world, you know, do things that make you feel alive and not you know, further away from everybody else, because ultimately, you know, I don't think it's not about surviving. You know, life is, I used to think that. I used to think like, you know, nothing you can't make it through, right? But to just make it through is not the point, I don't think. You know, I think that the point is to really evolve and grow and open up through that process. And so it's had just a compounding effect on people, I think, and it's made it a lot harder for people to open up and be vulnerable and connect with other people. For sure, which for me it's had the opposite effect. I hate to say it, but it was kind of a perfect recipe for what was going on with me at the time. You know, the world shut down. It's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go take a walk.
You know, having positive things to do and replace that time with, whether it's like staying at home and some other things. Man, you were out hiking, started CrossFit not soon after, like the gym reopened back up.
Yeah.
Coming back in and did some of those things.
I did, you know, hiked for a while, and then, you know, obviously I was needing a job, so that was the next thing. And then I was, you know, obviously had less time to hike, so I started working out and kind of combined the two and was doing all that, and eventually, you know, got to where I was starting to get bored with that. And you know, I was familiar with CrossFit. I'd heard of CrossFit. I'd done conditioning type, you know, workouts in the past when I was younger, but I just didn't, I think at the time I didn't have, when I first came down here and talked to you guys, it was like a little under a year before I started, and I just didn't have the cash at the time. I didn't have the extra money to join. And so as soon as I got a raise that, you know, gave me the money to do this, I was like, I got the raise, and like the next day I was down here talking to you guys, so and started. So it just seemed like a natural progression. And plus, I you know, there's something to be said for the group environment, like, and it helps that it's such a special group of people. You know, like it's like there's a guy that just started, Stewart. And I was talking to him, and I was like, man, you couldn't ask for a better environment, you know, because like if anybody's going to be hard on you in here or critical of you, it's going to be you, because nobody else in here wants anything but to see you, you know, succeed. And that's very unique as far as.
As you recently just picked up, and I say work, I will call it maybe even a project and something that you're helping out with now. I thought it was really cool. As long as you're allowed to talk about it, is the self-defense stuff that you're working with now.
So I'm not, you know, I'm not by any means instructing in the class. I'm just the bad guy.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm just the dude getting kicked, but it's definitely a good cause, you know, to help women become situationally aware and all that.
That's cool. And have you done one of those so far?
No. The first one is Sunday.
Okay, so you've gone through your prep for that.
Yeah.
So cool.
So hopefully more will come of it. If not, it was a cool experience.
Yeah.
You know.
I love it, man. I think it's awesome. I love getting to know people, and I say people, friends and family at a deeper level. And I think everybody did today for you. I enjoyed, even though some of the stuff I'd even heard before, I loved hearing it again, man. And it just again solidifies why I think we are so lucky to have you here.
I appreciate it, man. That means a lot.
You're so welcome, man.
I love it here. I love it. It's you know, it's so much more than just, you know, working out. It's not. I mean, this is a, you know, huge thing. I look forward every day. You know, I get off work, and it just so happens that when I get off work is the time that the next day's workout posts. It's just like, yes,
let's go.
You know, I don't. It's not always something I can imagine finishing, but you know, we do.
No.
We do. We get through it.
I've been doing CrossFit for a long time, and I still do that.
Yeah.
The night before, I'm looking for it. I want to close with this, just and it can be on anything. It doesn't even have to be the gym, man. I think this one went way deeper than workouts and CrossFit.
Definitely,
it went way deeper than that. But just anything that you would want to share with the people that may run across this video sometime in the near future?
You know, be good. Be good and be glad for it. That's it.
I love it, man. Dude, thank you so much. I'll see you early in the morning for the next workout.
Definitely.
See you guys. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Alex. We'll see you on the next one.